presented by the all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Final game of a 3-game set here in Oakland as the Toronto Blue Jays tried to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Oakland Athletics. It's 17 degrees, partly cloudy. And John Gibbons rolls out a lineup like this on this Sunday. Leading off, the second baseman is Devin Travis. Now Edwin Encarnacion, his career against Rich Hill, just 3 for 17, a pair of home runs and 4 RBIs. Troy Tulowitzki, you see Tulo there, hitting 6th this season, hitting .306, 8 home runs and 24 runs driven in. Rich Hill was scratch tabby on Friday because of a blister, and everybody thought that meant he was out of town already. He's here to pitch today, but maybe this is his final day.
That's what everybody's talking about, that this might be his final start for the Oakland A's before the trade deadline. He's had a great season. Just 13 starts because he spent some time on the disabled list with a groin injury, but 9-3 with a .225 earned run average. Made his first career opening day start back in April. Remember that, when Sonny Gray was scratched due to some food poisoning, and he's been very good ever since.
Travis got the day off yesterday. Darwin Barney got the start at second, hitting .272. And the left-hander, 36 years of age, from Milton, Massachusetts, deals in the pitch down and in. And you see the scouts that have gathered here, and yes, a lot of reports at Rich Hill, and there's been numerous teams that are believed to be interested in the left-hander.
Red Sox, Orioles, Marlins, Tigers, Rangers. Those are all the names that we are hearing around the ballpark for Rich Hill. Remember, he had that blister problem, so we will watch that. Him walking off the mound like that, that's an interesting move.
Well, a year ago, if you wanted him at this time, you could have had him. He was in the independent leagues pitching for the Long Island Ducks. He was later signed. That was after getting released. As you see Jay Happ heading back toward the dugout for the Toronto Blue Jays. He was released by the Washington Nationals as Travis fouls that one back. And then went to the independent leagues, and then eventually signed with the Boston Red Sox.
He's in trouble. You saw him walk off the mound on that after that 2-0 pitch, that he had some problems. I saw him starting to shake it. He has called out the trainer, and I don't know if he's going to be able to make this through this first inning. He developed a blister in his final start before the All-Star break against Houston, and then he was throwing a couple of days later, and another one appeared on his throwing finger. That was 3 days after he was pulled from that start. But he says he's fine, and he says he's going to be okay, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it.
Bob Melvin pointing over toward the bullpen, and I think that's going to be it. As Rich Hill heads back into the dugout, and he's looking at that left hand.
Yeah, he was actually dealing with a couple of blisters on the middle finger of his throwing hand, and said he was going to be okay, thought it was going to be missing the time, just cautionary, but if you've never had that, that's very painful. You can't throw a baseball.
And obviously there are a lot of different ways of going about it, including super glue. However,
pickle juice. Put your finger in some pickle juice and it should help it.
Really?
Yeah.
That one I haven't. Super glue, yes, but pickle juice, no, I have not heard that. So they go to the bullpen, and that means we'll take a timeout. The right-hander coming on, Andrew Triggs, taking over for the left-hander Rich Hill. Devin Travis is the batter, and we'll be back right after this. blister on his left hand, and so Andrew Triggs comes in.
He was originally the Royals' 19th round draft pick back in 2012 out of USC. He was claimed off waivers from the Baltimore Orioles on March of this season by the Oakland A's, and here he is in the big leagues. He's got a very good two-seamer. He throws about 88 to 92 miles an hour. He's only been in 15 games this year, but when he is on, he'll get lots of ground balls. That's his best pitch, that two-seamer. He's also got a slider and a changeup. Competitive. He's got that 3/4 inch arm slot delivery, so it's going to be tough to pick the ball up.
27 years of age, and the scouts are picking up the phone, calling home, saying, you know what, I might be home for dinner.
That was quick.
After 5 pitches.
Five pitches.
Rich Hill. So Triggs is on. Inherits a count of 3 balls and 2 strikes. Triggs is from Nashville, Tennessee. Went to the same high school as R.A. Dickey, Montgomery Bell Academy, MBA, and then went on to the University of Southern California, USC, originally selected by Cleveland in the 24th round, and the right-hander to the plate. This one laced into left field. It stays in the air for Davis. And there's one down, and here comes Josh Donaldson.
Boy, that's something else, isn't it? He threw on Friday on the first game here. Rich Hill did, and he declared that he was fine. Threw in the bullpen today, warming up, and then came out here, threw 5 pitches, and that was it. He is going to be a very hot commodity, if you will, in the next 2 weeks.
Donaldson looks at the pitch down low and away. You wonder how much this is going to factor into what ultimately you're going to be able to get for Rich Hill.
I think if you're the Oakland A's, you got to be disappointed because you were hoping that he would pitch a good game today, and that just ups his value and you can get more for him.
Line drive ripped right back to Triggs off of the mound. The play at first, not in time, and Donaldson beats it out for a single. And the catcher McBride heads out to the mound, and the training staff out.
That
Bob Melvin out.
Two batters, 2 different pitchers. That ball was hit on a line right off of Triggs. Watch this. Right off of that left foot. He's got the presence of mind to go over, pick it up, and they almost got Donaldson at first base, but you never like to see that from a pitcher, especially your guy who's come in the first inning for your starter. He's your long man. They're hoping that he's okay, that he can continue. It's his landing foot. So that is even more important.
Second hit for Donaldson in this series. And Triggs is going to see if he can continue to work here. And Bob Melvin behind him just shaking his head in disbelief after 5 pitches by the left-hander Rich Hill. They go to the bullpen for the 27-year-old right-hander Andrew Triggs, and Triggs, after retiring Travis, gets a line drive off of the foot, off of the bat of reigning AL MVP Josh Donaldson. And so Triggs appears to be okay to continue working. And with 1 out, Donaldson's over at first base.
Boy, this is a line drive. Hits him square right on the left ankle.
Edwin Encarnacion is the batter. And for the Blue Jays, this is an important one. You come into Oakland, you look at this road trip, Tabby, and you say to yourself, you know what, you should come away with some W's along the way against Oakland and Arizona. It has not been the case, though, here in Oakland, and the Oakland A's winning the first 2 out of the break.
And some disappointing losses for the Blue Jays. Opportunities in the first game here on Friday, and they couldn't capitalize and lost a 1-run game. Yesterday, another 1-run loss to the Oakland A's. Yeah, some disappointing losses, but you got to win this one, sweep Arizona, and you've got a winning record on the road trip. So first things first. 24-22 on the road. It's the first time that the A's have won
the first 2 games out of the break since 2012. The shift on, of course, and the pitches down and in to Edwin, who leads the majors in runs driven in. Hit his 24th home run yesterday. It was a blast, 420 feet. One of the longest home runs yesterday. The longest, Johnny Peralta hit one 434 feet. Chris Davis's was 418. The line drive into left center field. Donaldson on his way to third, misplayed by Davis in left. Donaldson rounds third. The throw to the plate is up the line and cut off, and Donaldson will score. So Edwin comes through here in the top of the first, and Davis mishandles it out in left, and Donaldson is able to score.
The A's have played sloppy baseball all season long. That's a fastball over the middle of the plate. The Blue Jays have had 3 batters up and hit 3 line drives. You can see Davis misplay that ball in left field. They've had an error now in each of the 3 ball games against the Blue Jays. Encarnacion will take second on the error. Donaldson will score on the error by the left fielder.
Davis, that's his first error of the season. And Martin promptly gets plucked, and he'll head down to first base. So runners at first and second. And the Blue Jays lead 1-0.
This is not what Bob Melvin and the Oakland A's were hoping for today. Fastball that runs inside. Triggs got that sidearm delivery. It's got a lot of movement on it. He might be hurting after that line drive off his left foot. I told you it was on his plant foot, his landing foot. And if you don't have good feeling in that foot, you're going to have some doubt when you let go of that baseball. And right now, he can't throw the ball where he wants to.
Let's see if the Jays can get a couple more here. Saunders is the batter. The left fielder awaits, and the pitch misses outside. Saunders hitting .293, 16 home runs, 43 runs driven in. At second base, Edwin, and over at first base is Martin. Outfield straight away in deep. And a ground ball, chopped foul outside the bag and tracked down by the former Blue Jay Valencia.
You know, I was thinking before the ball game today, we all knew about Rich Hill's problems with his finger. He said that he was okay. So I was watching the waiver wire or the transactions today to see if Oakland was going to call up a pitcher just in case something happens. They didn't. They still have 7 guys in the bullpen, and a couple of them have already thrown twice in this series, so you got to figure that they are unavailable today. So things don't look very good for the Oakland A's this afternoon.
See if the Jays can take advantage of it. Saunders swings through the pitch. They are hoping that Triggs can give him some innings here.
What, 2 or 3? You know, he's got to give him 9. They did not call up an extra arm. There's Liam Hendricks. He pitched on Friday. And you got to figure that he is available today. Schuster, Zabchinski.
The 1-2. And the fastball is high.
I thought for sure that they would send, a player down, an extra player, and bring up another arm, maybe a minor league starter, just in case something like that would happen, where Rich Hill got into the ball game early and then flared back up on his finger, that they would have a long man to take his place. Didn't see it in the transactions today.
Strike 3. Looking. Second out here in the top of the first inning. That's going to bring up Troy Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki, when hitting in the 6th hole, is hitting .306.
Michael Saunders not real happy with that call, and I don't blame him. That was a backdoor breaking ball from the side armor. From here, it looked like it went around the plate. But it's strike 3.
Tulo 1 for 4 yesterday. Was 1 for 4 on Friday night. His average at .239. And over the last 20 games, he's hitting .321 with 7 homers and 21 runs driven in.
He has been stinging the ball. He has been very aggressive. He has been seeing it and hitting it and letting it go. Even his outs have been hit hard.
And the slow breaking ball on the inside.
Tulo yesterday easily could have had 3 hits. He doubled down the left field line his first time up. Then he hit a rocket right at the third baseman that was caught. And then if you remember his last time up, or his third time up, he had a seed to the left fielder that could have been a base hit. So he's seeing the ball.
Hitters count. And a breaking ball is in there for a strike by Triggs. After 5 pitches, Rich Hill, the blister, reoccurring issue for him, ends up leaving the game. And Andrew Triggs is on. 2 on and the 2-1. And that's a strike, and Tulowitzki backs away.
You have to pick up that arm angle just a little bit lower. Basically, he's a sinker slider type of pitcher. Just have to pick it up a little bit earlier. That little box up behind his right shoulder, a little bit lower.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on and 2 out. In the air to shallow right field. Racing in is Reddick, and that's going to do it. Blue Jays strand 2. Edwin Encarnacion corks one into left center field. It's misplayed by Davis, and Donaldson scores. Down 1-0. They took the first 2 games of this series, and now he's trying to figure out exactly what to do as Andrew Triggs headed back into the clubhouse, who came on for Rich Hill. The lineup here on this Sunday: Marcus Semien. Look at those numbers against Happ. .538, a home run, and 4 runs driven in. And then the rookie Ryan Healy yesterday. His first major league hit was a home run, a 3-run blast. He finished 2 for 3. The West Hills, California native. And here is the left-hander on the hill, Happ,
who has been absolutely on a roll since he was traded from Seattle to Pittsburgh last season, right at the trade deadline. He was 7-2 there in 11 starts with the Pirates. Even better with the Jays with 12 wins. He credits the mechanics and being able to make adjustments on the mound. Those are the keys to his success, to be able to throw strikes on both sides of the plate.
He has already reached his career high in wins with 12. Set that with the Philadelphia Phillies back in 2009. Jed Lowry is the batter, hitting .279.
He says he's in a better place mentally. He says he's trying to stay confident, and he's been outstanding.
The left-hander, and that one off of the mask of the catcher, Russell Martin.
fastball command is so important, and the biggest improvement that we have seen, Manaea is now going down there to get loose. But fastball command is so important. This year he has shown the ability to throw his fastball where he needs to.
He's won 6 consecutive starts as that pitch is taken, and it's 1-2. Paul Emmel works the plate. The ball's in strikes. Marty Foster at first. Mark Wegner, the crew chief, in the swing, and a miss, and it's the first out here, and Mike Muchlinski works third. The defense: Saunders in left, Pilar in center, and Junior Lake in the right field. Donaldson, Tulowitzki on the right side, Travis and Smoke in the battery, Happ and Martin.
And Josh Donaldson has been outstanding at third base in this series. This play yesterday, taking away a base hit. So much better going to his left this year. He has been unbelievable. I've seen 3 plays, outstanding plays in just 2 games from Donaldson at third base. Don't you think that makes him feel pretty good against his former team?
Absolutely. He'd also like to leave town with a W. And Semien, the shortstop, with 1 away, the batter. Happ earned those 12 wins with the Phillies in his 3rd year in the bigs. He was 12-4 that year, had 23 starts, 35 appearances, and threw 166 innings. Throughout his career, he's had great success, Tabby, in the second half. His ERA better in the second half than in the first half, and as we've noted, he's put together his best first half ever. 3.70 ERA. 12
wins, and there's only been 1, maybe 2 games where he hasn't come out and pitched well enough to win.
A lot of territory. Smoke battling the high sky and over by the bullpen of the Blue Jays. He's able to take care of the second out.
You know, you might think that that was an easy play, but that was a tough play by Justin Smoke to make that, and to help Jay Happ. Over his last 6 starts, he has been outstanding. Look at the earned run average. He is undefeated. He's not walking anybody. 41 strikeouts and just 8 base on balls, and he's beaten Detroit and Cleveland, at Colorado, winning at Colorado, Arizona, and at Philly and Baltimore. I mean, he's just been doing everything and more that the Blue Jays were hoping for when they signed him.
Josh Reddick is the batter. He has struggled against left-handers, and the pitch is a strike. Hitting well below 200 against lefties. The right fielder
came off the disabled list about 2 weeks ago, and he's 0 for 12 versus left-handed pitchers since coming off the DL.
He didn't like that call, and the count of 1-2. Reddick had a big Friday night. 4 runs scored. A home run, pair of hits, and a couple of walks as that one is fouled back. On deck, the former Blue Jay, Danny Valencia. If Reddick is able to find his way aboard, his name has come up as well, and trade rumors, but that's the case with the A's as the pitch is taken. 2-2. Pilar shades him toward the gap in left center field. Happ trying to work a 1-2-3 bottom of the first. Tied for 3rd in the American League in wins, and the lefty rocks and deals. Strike 3, got him on the outside corner. 2 strikeouts. He struck out Jed Lowry, and then in foul ground, Semien's pop-up was caught by Smoke, and Reddick goes down looking. Manaea comes in. The left-hander making his 13th appearance, Tabby.
Manaea was scheduled to start the game down in Houston on Tuesday. He was scheduled to pitch against Dallas Keuchel. But because of the All-Star break, pitchers have been backed up, so they're well rested. So they're going to jump him into this game right here with Hill and now Triggs out of the ball game. So they'll probably make a roster move after the game. Manaea is a big, strong left-hander for Oakland. He was acquired from Kansas City with Aaron Brooks, if you remember that last year, for Ben Zobrist right at the trade deadline last season. The big left-hander, 12 starts, 3-5 with a 524 earned run average. They are hoping for big things from Manaea when they acquired him. He was one of the Royals' best prospects coming up from their organization, had a name, and with the injury to Triggs, Manaea was down in the bullpen loosening up while the Blue Jays were hitting, or excuse me, while the Oakland was hitting. And now with the Blue Jays hitting, he is allowed to throw as many pitches as he needs to get ready. He was drafted by the Royals as a competitive balance pick following the first round in 2013, but he didn't pitch. He had surgery. He underwent hip surgery following his college season.
Pitched at Indiana State University in Terre Haute, Indiana, 24 years of age. As you mentioned, he is a big left-hander. 6'5", 245 is Manaea.
And that's a good trade for them. That's what they're trying to do, I think, this year. Right at the trade deadline, they sold off some of their veteran players for young players from other organizations. Ben Zobrist goes to Kansas City. Manaea and Aaron Brooks, a couple of young pitchers, one a right-hander, one a left-hander, come back to Oakland, and now they've got some control now for the next 6 years of Manaea. I've watched him pitch a couple of times this year. He's looked very good at times. At other times, he looks like a young kid just trying to find his way in the big leagues, which is expected, I think. Young kids, you never know what you're going to get with them, up and down.
He has made 4 starts at the minor league level this season. 1 start for the Stockton Ports and the Cal League, and then 3 in AAA, the Pacific Coast League, for the Nashville Sounds. And so the third pitcher that the Blue Jays will face, here's Kevin Pillar. So you're sitting there getting prepared for Rich Hill, and then you go to the scouting book to take a look at Andrew Triggs, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, anybody have anything on Manaea?
Manaea, well, he's left-handed. That's good for the guys who are expected to face Rich Hill this afternoon. Still get a left-hander. He doesn't have the curveball that Rich Hill has, so you don't have to worry about that.
Pillar in the air, center field. Coming in is Smolinski, and Smolinski captures the first out here. Smoke and then Lake if they're able to get on Travis potentially. So here is Smoke. He'll turn around and hit from the right side. Overall hitting .234, 10 homers and 34 RBIs.
He put a charge into a ball yesterday, didn't he?
In the 9th inning, top of the 9th inning, on that changeup, he drilled it to right field. Signing a 2-year extension with a team option for the 3rd yesterday. Blue Jays lead 1-0 in Manaea, the left-hander, to the plate, and the pitch misses high and away, 92 miles an hour.
He doesn't have the type of command that we would have seen from Rich Hill. Rich Hill had great command, fastball, breaking ball. Manaea's got great stuff, but he's still developing in his search to get to the big leagues. He pitched in Wilmington, Midland, Northwest, Arkansas just last season, so he is still developing as a young pitcher, so you'll see some inconsistencies with the strike zone.
The 3-0 pitch, and there's a strike. Manaea getting the signs for McBride, who's catching today for Stephen Vogt. And fouled off, and the count now full as he tries to come back against Justin Smoke here in the top of the second inning.
First time that the Blue Jays have seen Manaea. They were finished with Oakland last year before the trade deadline, and that happened. And getting their first look at the big left-hander.
Swing and a miss. Breaking ball. That is the first strikeout for Manaea. He was down to the count 3-0, gets him on the breaking ball, and this is Rich Hill, all of 5 pitches.
Well, you could tell something was wrong the third pitch of the game, that he walked off of the mound, and you can tell something was wrong. That was the 5th pitch after it was fouled back. He looked at his finger and walked off, and then the next batter, Josh Donaldson, hits a line drive right off of Andrew Triggs' leg. He was able to finish the inning, which was good news for the Oakland Athletics. And now they go back to the bullpen. Third pitcher, it's only the second inning.
Third shortest outing for a starter this season. Bartolo Colon, 4 pitches, May 21st. The Mets against Kansas City as Lake fouls that one back. Then Vince Velasquez on May 8th. Philadelphia against the Cubs, just 2 pitches. Colon left because of a comebacker, and Velasquez right bicep soreness. And Rich Hill, 5 pitches, leaves because of a blister. Manaea to the plate, and Lake fouls it off. The scouts have put away the gun.
Well, if you're Sean Manaea, now you got a chance to impress the scouts, right?
Former first-round pick, as you mentioned, already dealt by Kansas City. Here he is in Oakland. He's probably thinking he's not going to get traded anytime soon. But Rich Hill, be interesting because Billy Beane, the general manager, recently told Peter Gammons that he felt that Rich Hill, and of course he's trying to get that stock up, best pitcher in the league right now, period. We could have no problem making him a qualifying offer, which would be 1 year at $17 million. Breaking ball in the dirt.
So then it would turn out to be a 2-year, $23 million contract because he signed for just $6 million this year. That's a bargain. You offer him the qualifying offer, he accepts it. That's $23 million over 2 years. That's doable, isn't it, for a guy who's had success?
We'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, see how it plays out.
Yeah. 2 outs here in the top of the second inning. Lake 5 for 19. Looks at that pitch, and you could hear the disgruntled fan base of the Oakland A's. They thought that was the 3rd strike. 14th game for Junior Lake. Has a home run, pair of RBIs. The lefty to the plate. Did he go around? They'll check. No. And more oohs and ahs.
Half the teams thought that was strike 3. They were making a couple of steps towards the dugout. But Junior Lake held up on that one. That home run you were just talking about, that was off Chris Sale. So he has faced some pretty good lefties in his career.
The 3-2 on its way. Ground ball. Backhanded by Semien, and a long throw to first. Got him. A 1-2-3 inning. Looking into the dugout to see if they will challenge that call at first base. And now the A's hold up. They were hustling off of the field, and now they're going to go back to getting into the dugout.
leadoff spot, and while he hasn't fared very well, he's hitting just 200. He says that's exactly where he wants to be. He also shared a story from Friday night when he told me that he really had a scare in the outfield. It was a play when the ball bounced off second base and it ended up hitting him in the shoulder. He said for the first time since that injury last year, guys, he had flashbacks, and it was a very scary moment. Thankfully for him, it hit him in the right shoulder, not the left shoulder. I'm wondering, Tabby, have you ever had an injury where you've had flashbacks of it?
Never. Never was hurt.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Of course I got hurt. Knee injuries. That was a scary play from Devin.
How about that time you're playing left field here at the Oakland Coliseum, and we talked about how difficult it is. The high sky, the sun during the day.
I have flashbacks when I come into this stadium right here, of especially day games, of playing left field and getting hit by the ball because it goes up into the sun and you lose it completely.
Valencia fouls this one off. Danny Valencia hitting .301, playing first base today.
Valencia's going to play against left-handers. There's the sky that I was talking about. The ball goes up there, you lose it. I actually got hit with the ball as it came down. Everybody made fun of me. I was got a big bruise on my chest.
It happens. Down the third base line, Martin to first, got him. What a play by Russell Martin as he tracked it down. Dribbling down that third base line, able to get out of the crouch and quickly jump on it.
What an athletic play by Russell Martin. Watch him get rid of the face mask very quickly. Slide, comes up throwing. I mean, this is a play that you can't really practice. This is just reaction and being able to think on the fly, if you will.
Yeah.
If you're Russell Martin, just get out there, use your athleticism when he throws a strike to Justin Smoke with those long arms, finishes off the play.
Valencia now 8 for his last 51. Chris Davis has 3 home runs in this series. He had one on Friday night, and then he hit a pair yesterday. His third multi-home run game of the season, 9th of his career. Happ to the plate and right back to him. And over to first base.
Jay Happ just continues to pump fastballs in there. He's not just throwing it right down the middle. He's hitting his spots. He's keeping it on the corners. He's changing speeds. He says he learned a lot when he watched Clayton Kershaw pitch against the Blue Jays this year. And Kershaw's in a class all by himself as a pitcher. But as he sat there that afternoon and watched him pitch, he said, you know what? You don't have to be perfect to get major league hitters out. You got to throw quality pitches. And if Clayton Kershaw can't be perfect, you don't have to do that to win Cy Young. Just constantly fill up that strike zone with quality pitches.
He has certainly done that. Billy Butler is the batter and designated hitter. Over his last 15 games, hitting just .214.
He's been regulated now to a platoon type situation as a DH. And he has good numbers against left-handers.
Tulowitzki over at short, wings it over to first base in another 1-2-3 inning here in the bottom of the second through 2. It's 1-0 Blue Jays. We go to the third.
Coast comes to Toronto, starting with the Seattle Mariners, who pay a visit at Rogers Center July 22nd through the 24th. Then it is the San Diego Padres from the 25th through the 27th. And the Blue Jays then return to American League East opponents as the Baltimore Orioles visit for the final 3 days of the month. Go to BlueJays.com for tickets. And the Orioles lost today, guys, so the Jays have a chance to gain some ground.
Back to the top of the order. Devin Travis is the batter. Healy even with the bag at third. Manaea worked a 1-2-3 top of the second. Here we are in the top of the third. 1-0 Blue Jays. In the air to right field. Cruising back is Reddick. And there's one down, and Josh Donaldson is the batter. Donaldson, one of only 5 players in American League history to have ever scored 80 runs and hit 20 homers prior to the All-Star break. He was able to join that group last Sunday. The list includes Lou Gehrig, Ted Williams, Reggie Jackson, Frank Thomas, and Alex Rodriguez.
Are those guys good?
Those guys are a little bit beyond good.
How many Hall of Famers are on there?
You got Lou, you got Ted, and Reggie. You got Frank.
Hall of Famer.
Yep.
And A-Rod?
Well, I would imagine he'll be a Hall of Famer. I mean, is he, based on everything that has transpired, is he going in the first time?
No, I don't think so. But 600 home runs and saying sorry for what happened. I think we'll see him in the Hall of Fame.
Reggie Jackson is out of Arizona State. Played here, wore the number 9, went to Baltimore, and then after Baltimore it was the New York Yankees, and he was the straw that stirred the drink there. Mr. October. And had some great years in Anaheim as well with the California Angels. Donaldson, hitters count in the 3-1. Strike 2. Manaea with a breaking pitch there.
Showing some maturity right there. Instead of challenging, Josh Donaldson throws him a 3-1 breaking ball. So
ground ball. Healy charging. And there's 2 down here.
Thought he might come right back with the breaking ball if he's going to throw a 3-1. He might throw a 3-2, but he jammed up Josh Donaldson. He crossed him up with a fastball in the inner half.
Edwin Encarnacion a single and reached second on an error in the top of the first inning. That error by the left fielder Davis, his first, allowed Donaldson to score. Edwin looks at a pitch low.
That's been a theme, hasn't it, through these 3 games against the Oakland A's? The Jays have been knocking on the door, but they have not been able to push more runs across. I thought for sure that they would have more than just 1 run in the first inning when that inning started off.
In this series, they are 4 for 19 with runners in scoring position. They've had their opportunities, and you go back to Friday night, and the Blue Jays led 7-3.
7-3, and they failed to get some add-on runs, and they really failed to take advantage of 8 base on balls by Oakland pitching. And they lost a 1-run game. Then they had some opportunities yesterday. Until that home run by Justin Smoak yesterday in the 9th inning, the Blue Jays didn't score from the 3rd inning till the 9th. But they had opportunities. They left a ton of runners on base.
Baltimore lost today as the pitch is fouled back, and that ends a 4-game winning streak for the Orioles. They lost to Tampa Bay 5-2. Red Sox, they're hot. They've won 6 in a row.
They played tonight.
Yep.
Against the Yankees.
Here's the 2-2 with 2 outs, and the pitch is low, and Manaea has a full count.
You know what's happened in Boston? I think the trades that Dave Dombrowski pulled off around the All-Star break has invigorated that team and sent some excitement into that clubhouse. And they're playing loose and good baseball.
Strike 3 on the inside corner. Edwin Encarnacion doesn't like the call. And a couple of quick words with Paul Emmel, the home plate umpire, and another 1-2-3 by Manaea.
Experience something on the road, you can share it immediately, but sometimes those costs get a little too high, and that is where Roam Like Home comes in. The Rogers program allows you to share your experiences exactly as you do at home for just $5 a day in the U.S. Remember, using the hashtag #FromAnywhere. Go to Rogers.com/RoamLikeHome for more information. Now let's get you back to Matt Devlin and Pat Tabler.
6 up, 6 down thus far. Bottom third of the order for Jay Happ, Smolinski, Healy, and McBride. It's interesting, you saw Edwin Encarnacion have a conversation with Paul Emmel, the home plate umpire. Yesterday, the AP reported, as they received a memo, as this pitch is hit in the air, and Pilar is right there, 1 away, 7 up, 7 down. From MLB executive Joe Torre, the memo was sent Friday to managers, general managers, and assistant general managers that said this highly inappropriate conduct, and this is regarding arguing balls and strikes, is inappropriate. It's detrimental to the game and must stop immediately. And we saw balls and strikes on Friday night, a topic of conversation, and Bob Melvin got ejected along with Yonder Alonso.
Why are we changing the game so much over the last few years? That's what I want to know. You can't slide in the home plate. You can't take the second baseman out. Now you can't argue.
Where's Earl Weaver when you need him?
Or any of those guys. Billy Martin. Why can't you argue? There's a way that you can argue balls and strikes. Hey, I agree. You don't want to be too demonstrative and show up the umpires, but there's a way to question the calls. I don't know. What's happened?
Pinella.
What's happened to our game? Why?
These are some of the great memories of managers going out there. And Earl, of course, one of the best. And he was the manager of the Baltimore Orioles. Lou Pinella covering up the home plate area. Healy trying to leg this one out, and a nice play by Tulowitzki as he throws it from his hip.
The checkered flag event is back, celebrating over 50 years of racing heritage in every Honda. Now is a great time to get into the all-new Civic.
Matt McBride is the batter, hitting .222. The catcher. And Happ rolling along here.
He gets the start this afternoon. McBride, the first time that Rich Hill did not throw to Stephen Vogt this year. I asked, well, why wouldn't Stephen Vogt start today to catch Rich Hill? I said, well, there's lefty on the mound, so they wanted to have the right-handed hitting Matt McBride in there. Maybe they knew something, that Rich Hill was not going to be able to throw very long into this ball game.
One ball, one strike, 2 away. Happ became the 6th Blue Jays pitcher to record at least 12 wins prior to the break. And the first since Roy Halladay back in 2006.
He's pitched like an all-star. I thought he had a really good chance of making the all-star team. How do you leave a guy off who won 12 games in the first half?
I don't know. In the air, right side. This one is curving toward the bullpen and out of play, or at least out of reach of late, not out of play. For Happ, what have you noticed? What is the biggest difference you see in him now compared to the first time through with the Blue Jays?
Fastball command. And he talks about that being able to throw the ball where I need to. He's working a lot quicker now. He says he is trusting what he is seeing in those hitters. If he throws a fastball and they're late, he says, I'll go right back to that fastball. He says, I'm in a better place mentally. He's trying to stay confident. And when you talk to him, yeah, he's made some minor adjustments mechanically in the way he throws the baseball, but right now it's just fastball command. He can throw it where he needs to.
9 up, 9 down as McBride swings and misses. That's his 3rd strikeout. Jay Happ is cruising here as we head now to the 4th, and the Blue Jays lead 1-0.
Fan Festivals presented by Bacardi. The first one goes this Friday. Pre-game performance by Jess Moskaluk. Patio opens at 4:30. Mariners and Blue Jays that night. You can go to bluejays.com for tickets. Guys.
Martin to start things here in the top of the 4th inning. Then Saunders and Tulowitzki. Manaea, the 3rd pitcher used by the Oakland A's. 5 pitches for Rich Hill and the recurrence of a blister. And then Triggs got a line drive off of the foot, off of the bat of Donaldson, the 2nd batter that he faced. And Manaea came on in the 2nd. He has faced 6. He has set down 6. Martin was hit by a pitch back in the top of the 1st. And the left-hander brings it, and this pitch is driven Into the gap in right center field, cut off by Smolinski. Martin now hustling to second. The throw, diving in safely is Martin. And a lead-off double for the Blue Jays. And as we mentioned earlier, with runners in scoring position, the Jays in this series is 4 of 19. Can they get it going here in the top of the 4th? And let's send it to Hazel.
Now batting, number 21, Michael Saunders.
All right, Hazel, the 8th double of the season for Martin.
This is a very aggressive slide, and watch the right shoulder ram right into Marcus Semien, the shortstop. That is a tough slide. Head first like that. The ball is coming there. The fielder is there. I've seen so many guys wreck their hands as they try to grab onto that base. That's an aggressive slide by Russell, and I'm glad everybody was able to get up from that okay and no injuries.
We were talking about that last night at dinner, about sliding, and also talking about it today. You know, you see players that end up changing from going in head first to now feet first, and you rarely see the pop-up slide.
I would love to see players go feet first. I think you're a little bit quicker. I think you can keep your legs underneath you. You can keep your balance just a little bit better. And you don't expose your hands or your face to that ball that's coming into the bag right there.
The 1-1, and McBride keeps it in front of him up the line. Third. Martin, the first hit off of Manaea.
Russell upset with himself. He thought that he could move up on this pitch, but I don't agree with him. This ball is right out in front of the catcher. And you're standing at second base with nobody out. You don't want to make the first or third out over at third base, so you're already in scoring position. Saw Russell at the end of that play really smack himself on the leg, saying I should have moved up, but I don't think so.
Saunders awaits the 2-1, and that one right below us, and the count 2-2. Jays are trying to avoid a sweep. The last time they were swept in a 3-game series was mid-May when they were swept by Tampa Bay. And since that time, 32-18 are the Blue Jays. After that, they were a season high 4 games under 500, and Saunders moves them over to third.
What a fantastic at bat by Michael Saunders. Even with 2 strikes, he was trying to pull the ball to the right side. That's why you see all the high fives in that dugout, especially from his starter right there. Fundamental baseball, leadoff double, move him over to third base. Now the infield has to come in. Watch how he cuts down his swing and make sure he gets the barrel of the bat out in front on that breaking ball, and it's actually a pitch away from him that he's able to pull to the first baseman. Now the infield has to come in and makes Tulowitzki a better hitter.
Tulowitzki swings at the first pitch and fouls it off to the right side. He ended the top of the first inning flying out to right field in Reddick. If he's able to get it in the air once again here in the 4th inning, that'll easily score Martin from third.
The best throwing arm in the outfield right now is Josh Reddick in right field. He leads the team in outfield assists with 3. This is a team that only has 10 outfield assists all season, by far the most or the fewest in the American League. And
breaking ball 0-2.
Not a lot of good arms in the outfield, so you don't have to hit it that deep. There's Josh Reddick. He's a Gold Glove type of outfielder. He won in 2012. He's got a very good, strong, and accurate arm.
In the air to deep center field. Smolinski going back, up against the wall. It's gone. Tulowitzki drives one deep to center field, and the Blue Jays take a 3-0 lead here in the top of the fourth.
16th home run of the season for Troy Tulowitzki. Yesterday hit the ball hard 3 times, right on the nose, and they only have 1 hit to show for it. That was a double. Trying to get that ball in the air, and you can see those 2 responsible for the 2 runs this inning. Russell Martin with the double. He scores on the home run by Tulowitzki. That's how you get on top of a high fastball. Tried to slip that one by Tulo, and he said,
Tulowitzki, 46 runs driven in now on the season.
Watch him go upstairs to try and get the strikeout. And Tulo's got great plate coverage and leverage to get that one over the center field wall for a home run.
Tulowitzki hitting in that 6th spot. He loves it there. That's his 9th home run from that spot in the order. And RBIs number 25 and 26, and he's hitting .306 prior to that blast.
Coming off the disabled list, he's looked like a different player offensively.
Blue Jays enter the day second to Baltimore in home runs in the majors. They now have 134, Baltimore 140. And of course, since the start of last year, no team has more homers than Toronto. Now 366 as Tulo sends it deep to center. And a 3-0 lead. Pilar, the batter. And the pitch down and in. And did he go around? Yes, he did. And Pilar looks back over at the home plate umpire, Paul Emmel, and now Pilar looking up the line at Marty Foster, who made that call.
Now batting.
Well, I don't know about that. Looked like Kevin might have checked his swing on that one, but he was punched out by the umpire.
3rd strikeout for Manaea. Blue Jays lead 3-0 down the line off of the bat of Smoke, and it is foul. Smoke thought maybe he was headed to second, with an extra base hit he'll head back to the bag or home plate.
Louis Rivera is going to have a talk with the umpire. That's Mike Mochlinski down the line. That one looked like it was foul. I think the umpire had a little bit better angle on that ball.
Smoke 7 for his last 49. And a ground ball chopper back at the second base bag. Lowry over to first base. And that's going to do it. But not before Troy Tulowitzki with Russell Martin at 3rd. Uncorks this one and sends it to deep center field.
that you can also join into the conversation online at Tim and Sid. Guys, I know you are a big country music fan, Matt, and I mentioned yesterday about John Gibbons' daughter. The band is called Southtown, and they are fantastic. His daughter, Jordan, actually is a very, very good singer. You can catch him out online as well. Lots of videos and songs on there.
We'll have to do that. And the pitch is low from Jay Happ. 9 up, 9 down. Jed Lowry is the batter here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Gibby's got another superstar on his hand, huh? His daughter?
Yes. And the first base hit for the Athletics.
Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Beautiful day here in Oakland. Lowry at first base. He's 1 for 2. Semien popped out to the first baseman in foul ground smoke back in the bottom of the 1st, and the first pitch is low.
This kid's going to be a good hitter.
And they're going to call it a strike.
Yeah, strike one. He's got 19 home runs. Last 17 games, he's had 10 extra base hits. So now you've got a shortstop who can pick it. He's really improved himself as a fielder. You've got a shortstop with some extra base pop.
0 for 7 in the series.
19 home runs and a lot of extra base hits. This is probably where you will start to see him hit as he grows just a little bit more as a hitter. He's only hitting .237 coming into this game. But you'll see him in that number 2 hole. Imagine if he gets an on-base percentage and all the fastballs he's going to get. And he'll see when he moves up into that batting order.
The 19 homers and 47 runs driven in are both career highs. He leads all AL shortstops in home runs, and the pitch was up. Did he go around? He did. And that is the 4th strikeout for Jay Happ.
Well, we talk about fastball command and his ability to throw the ground ball and keep the ball down, but every now and then he can do this. He can go up in the strike zone, and his spin rate is so fast. When the ball comes out of his hand, the pitchers the ball gets on those hitters so quickly, they just don't pick it up.
Reddick struck out in the bottom of the 1st to end that inning. He is 8 for his last 50 against left-handers. And every now and again he likes to bring out the lineup card. He did that the last couple of days. He didn't do it today. He said sometimes it just kind of gets him going a little bit, a little superstitious there. And certainly worked for him and the A's on Friday night, and so they went ahead and went with it again yesterday.
And they won again yesterday.
But not today.
But not, go figure.
Trying to mix it up a little bit. Maybe he just didn't have the feeling, you know, that it was all going to work out today. Darren Bush, the hitting coach, brought out the lineup card today. Happ with a runner over at first base. That's Lowry. And the 3-0 on its way, and a strike is called, and a count now 3 balls and a strike to Josh Reddick. Big swing and a miss. And the count now runs full at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And you hear his name, Josh Reddick, as we get closer to the trade deadline about possibly moving addresses. This guy's a good player. When he's healthy, he produces.
Last year, 20 homers, 77 runs driven in 149 games for the A's, and he swings and misses here. He has struck out twice. That's 5 strikeouts already for Jay Happ. 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th.
Well, Jay, when he gets on the road, he just seems to just fill up the strike zone, and you can see the runners the batter's opponent's batting average on the road. That's outstanding at 218. At home, that's really good too, considering the Rogers Center is such a great hitter's ballpark.
Valencia right back through the middle, and runners at first and second now.
And that's why Valencia is in the lineup right there. He creams left-handed pitching. 344 average, and right behind him is Chris Davis, and he's on a nice little roll. A couple of home runs yesterday. This one off of R.A. Dickey, a bomb over the 388 sign in left field, and then he goes against R.A. to right field. This one even further. You mentioned that's his 9th career multi-home run game, and with that home run there, he has the most home runs in the American League as a left fielder. He's got 16 of his 22 home runs as a left fielder. He overtook Michael Saunders, who has 15 home runs as a left fielder. It's exactly what the Oakland A's were looking for when they went out and picked up Chris Davis from the Milwaukee Brewers. They needed some punch in their lineup, and he's providing it.
Absolutely. First time that the A's have something going. Happ retired the first 9 batters that he faced. Lowry with a leadoff single. He struck out Semien, struck out Reddick. He was down to the count 3-0 to Reddick and came back to get him. But then Valencia jumped on that first pitch. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Ground ball. Scooped up by Happ, fires to first, got him. What a play by Jay Happ, and now they're going to say that there's a little bit of confusion there.
Everybody's
with
waiting to see if they're going to replay it. But he was out.
Look at Martin. Martin's like, hey, I had one earlier, and Jay Happ said, I think I just backed it up. What a great play by Happ. Able to come away with that out there. It's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Hazel and Greg from the Samsung broadcast studio. And Travis and Donaldson, nice play by Happ to end the bottom of the 4th inning. The Athletics stranded 2 runners. It's 3-0 Blue Jays. Top half of inning number 5. Manaea, the 3rd pitcher, was scheduled to pitch against Houston, as you mentioned, and he is come in and retired the first 6 before Martin doubled, and then Tulowitzki, after fooling him on 2 pitches, made a mistake, and the veteran Troy Tulowitzki jumped all over it.
He tried to go up in the strike zone, but it wasn't up high enough. Manaea We mentioned that he was a first-round draft pick of the Kansas City Royals last year. He really came into his own when he was in Double-A. He was in Midland. He was hooked up there with pitching coach John Wasden, if you remember John Wasden from the Red Sox. Wasden taught him a new grip on his slider, and all of a sudden the results have been outstanding. He's got two different types of slider. He's got a really hard one that he likes to throw to the back foot of his right-handers. Then he's got a slower one that he'll just keep into the strike zone. We might see it here. There it is.
The all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
As you mentioned, getting that pitch and Lake saw it.
Well, that's the value of having a good pitching coach, a guy who's pitched in the big leagues and knows something about the game. They can teach you something that you don't know. Just something as simple as changing the grip on your slider, and the next thing you know, you're in the big leagues the next year.
Manaea with one down. Lake struck out. Here is Devin Travis in the air to right field, and Reddick just shy of the warning track. As the second out, let's go to Hazel.
Now batting, number 20, Donaldson.
All righty, of course, after today's game, the Blue Jays will travel down to Phoenix. The temperature is going to be a little bit different there, Tabby.
What do you mean?
Hovering at about 40.
We'll be indoors. We'll be fine.
We'll be in the air conditioning.
That's right.
Donaldson was the reason why Andrew Triggs had to leave the game. This one's out of play. Triggs, we're receiving a report that he has a left calf contusion. There's a line drive off of the left calf. Back in the top of the first after the right-hander came on for Rich Hill, who left because of a blister. One for two is Donaldson, and this one's down the line foul toward the bullpen of the ace.
Another pretty good slider right there in a good spot with two strikes. The rap on Manaea has been that he's got the great fastball, but his secondary pitches have lacked control. Today he's showing that he can throw it for a strike.
He's really just made one mistake, and that was to Tulowitzki. Calling for it is Smolinski, and it's a 1-2-3 here in the top of the fifth inning. We go to the bottom of the fifth. Jays lead 3-0 here in Oakland.
Live streaming sports service delivers everything you've come to expect and more. You can watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. It also includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Bottom half of inning number 5, Butler, Smolinski, and Healy. 52 pitches for Jay Happ, and the left-hander to the plate, and the first pitch is foul back. Only Chris Sale and Chris Tillman have more wins in the American League than this left-hander.
Showing you why this afternoon, too. Filling up that strike zone. He's going to face Billy Butler. Billy Butler's hitting .318 versus left-handers this year. That's why he's going to be a platoon DH for the rest of the season. He's also a career .290 hitter coming into this season. This is his 9th year in the big leagues. But the Blue Jays have really held him down. Just a .236 career hitter versus the Blue Jays. They've pitched him tough. He has hit into some tough luck also. This guy's a fine hitter.
High in the air. And moving back is Travis, and called off by Tulowitzki. And that's going to be the first out here, the bottom of the 5th inning.
Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Happ with 5 strikeouts here today. And we talked about those sterling numbers over the last 6 starts. He's 6-0 with a 2.95 ERA. He has struck out 41. Watch out there. That one is off of Happ. Scooped up by Donaldson, and Smolinski is at first base.
Boy, that happens so quickly. You don't know if it got his wrist or if it got any of his glove. John Gibbons out there very quickly. You know, the way he is shaking his left arm in his hand, it looked like it might have hit him in his pitching arm.
Unfortunate for Happ. He has just been outstanding here on this Sunday. He's only allowed 2 hits, and you see him grimacing here. That left forearm. Let's see if we can catch it here.
There it is.
Yeah. Right off of the left forearm, maybe right above the wrist area. See,
what, did it cut him?
Maybe
might have cut him.
Maybe the laces. Yeah.
Listen, Jay knows all about balls coming back at him. If you remember that a couple of years ago down in Tampa Bay.
Scary.
When he got one right off of his head. Spent some time on the disabled list for that and a knee injury. I'll tell you, that is a scary, scary feeling, that ball coming back there like that.
Let's see if he can continue here. Happ trying to shake that left hand. A line drive right off of the forearm area. See if he can get that feeling in it.
You know, that's the thing that you really worry about. If you don't have the feeling in the hand and the arm, all of a sudden you lose your release point and you don't throw the ball where you need to. I remember one time we were playing Minnesota. Keith Atherton, you remember that name? Hit a line drive off of his fingers. He threw a couple of pitches, said he was fine, but he didn't have the feeling in his fingers. Next batter was Joe Carter, got hit right in the nose on the next pitch. So you got to make sure that you've got a good feeling in it. It looks like he's going to be okay.
Or at least he's going to try to continue. You see some of the blood there on the left forearm area. Tulowitzki giving him some time, rubbing the baseball, trying to get a feeling.
Look at that thing swelling up already. I hope he can get through this inning right here so he's eligible for the win.
One away here in the 5th inning. Let's see if the bullpen starts to move a little bit. Smolinski over at first. Blue Jays lead 3-0 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Ryan Healy is the batter, and he fouls it off to the right side. Healy, his first big league hit was yesterday, and it was a 3-run home run. Pitch down and in.
Yeah, he was the big hitting hero yesterday with that 3-run home run. He wrapped it around the foul pole down the left field line. Right now, if Jay can get one of those cutters or get one of those sinkers down, he can get a ground ball to get out of this. He's recorded 14 ground ball double plays this season. That's tied for 4th in the American League. Looks like that's where they are going to go, down and away.
Ground ball. Big hop. Donaldson to second, out. The only play. And let's check in with Hazel. Jay Happ getting hit by Smolinski. That line drive staying in. In the left forearm area, you could see the knot that is developed there. As you would expect, Matt McBride is the hitter. Blue Jays lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Matt Devlin alongside Pat Tabler here on this Sunday. Blue Jays trying to avoid a sweep. They entered the day 4 games back in the American League East. Baltimore lost. That ended their 4-game winning streak. Boston will play later today. They've won 6 straight. Happ to the plate. And it evens a count.
Well, it doesn't look like it's affecting his release point, which is good. He's going to go and sit down when he gets through this inning. They ice it. See how he feels when he comes back, if he can come back.
Right.
You know,
keep an eye on that for sure. Happ trying to work his way through this after the line drive off of the forearm. McBride struck out in the 3rd. Here's a 2-1 pitch, and it's low. 3 balls and a strike. No action right now down in the bullpen for the Blue Jays.
You know, maybe it's something out here in the Bay Area. The last time we were out here, Jay pitched against San Francisco, and he came within 1 out of throwing a complete game shutout against San Francisco. And he is doing the same thing here today. Looks great.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. He retired the first 9 batters that he faced before Lowry picked up a single. And then he struck out Semien and Reddick, a base hit by Valencia, and got Chris Davis to ground out. This one fouled off to the right side. But as you mentioned, certainly a scary sight when you see a line drive headed back right at the pitcher. You could see how he was trying to get out of the way. He had his glove in position, but that line drive.
You're so defensive.
Yeah.
You're defenseless against that line drive back at you.
Shallow left center field coming in as Pilar has it all the way, and that's going to do it for the A's here in the bottom of inning number 5. And let's keep an eye on Jay Happ as he heads into the dugout for the Toronto Blue Jays. We head to the 6th. Toronto up 3-0.
To watch the 103rd edition of the Tour de France on now till the 24th of July on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 1. And a quick congratulations to James Hinchcliffe today, finishing third at the Honda Indy Toronto.
Congrats to James. Keeping an eye on Jay Happ, no ice. A conversation though with John Gibbons, and he appears to be okay as Edwin looks at a called strike.
Boy, that is good news.
Yes.
Right there. You can see Crimmins just a little bit putting on that jacket.
And now maybe they'll go to work, and pitches a ball. And the sleeve, a compression sleeve to keep the swelling down. Edwin gets underneath this one. A towering shallow fly ball into right field by the designated hitter, and Reddick is able to track it down.
He came a long way for that ball. He was playing Encarnacion in right center field and deep. He's a good outfielder. You can see how deep he is and how far he was. He was the only one who was going to catch it. You can see Danny Valencia has no idea where the ball is, but Reddick runs it down. Gold Glove winner in 2012.
Playing him to pull, and had to go a long way. There's one away. Here's Russell Martin. Martin doubled. That was back in the fourth, and a base hit back through the middle. And so he's been up 3 times. He's been aboard 3 times. Hit by a pitch in the first, double in the fourth, and a single here in the sixth for Russell.
John Gibbons puts him in the cleanup spot today, and he's rewarded with 3 very good at bats, not waiting around, getting that first pitch fastball and drilling it into center field.
Saunders, his last time up, was able to move Martin from second to third, and then Tulowitzki down to the count hit his 16th home run. Manaea to the plate, and the pitch misses. Happ looking on, has a compression sleeve over that left forearm. Small lead for Martin in a pitch that is low, and now the count 2-0.
Michael Saunders has done an outstanding job this year against left-handed pitching. People weren't really sure what they were going to get because of the injuries last year for Michael, but he has come in and he has hit. He's hitting .301 against left-handers this season. His at-bats have been great. I asked him about that. I said, what's the key to hitting left-handed pitching? I got to keep my front shoulder in there. I got to stay on the ball. If I start pulling off of that ball, they're going to throw me a lot of breaking balls, and I'm just going to roll over on them and hit ground balls to the second baseman. He's hit 6 home runs this year off left-handed pitching.
Breaking ball, very patient hitter. He sees 4.27 pitches per plate appearance. That's 4th best in the American League.
That's Dane Johnson, the bullpen coach, on the phone with the bench.
In the air to center field. Smolinski is back. 2 out here in the top of the 6th inning.
Dane might just be getting some instruction. Hey, Jay's going to go out there. He's going to throw. But if I call back, have this guy ready just in case. That's a good sign that nobody has gotten up yet to get loose. Got to prepare for all kind of scenarios if you're John Gibbons.
Tulowitzki is 1 for 2, 2-run home run. That was in the top of the 4th. Here we are in the top of the 6th. The one mistake that Manaea made, Tulo made him pay for it. And he drives this one into the gap, and Reddick cruising over, and he's going to bring in the 3rd out. And that'll do it for the Blue Jays in the top of the 6th inning. 3-0 Toronto. We go to the home half of inning number 6 here in the East Bay.
Rated travel rewards card in Canada. It's the WestJet RBC World Elite MasterCard. Visit rbc.com/WestJet to apply today. And guys, it's great to see number 33 back on the mound for the Blue Jays.
Happ took off the compression sleeve on the left forearm, and he is back out there working in the bottom of the 6th inning.
67 pitches for Jay. He's been pounding that strike zone, hasn't walked about. He's got 5 strikeouts this afternoon.
Lowry is the leadoff hitter. He is 6 for 13 lifetime against Happ. Blue Jays lead 3-0.
He's had a rough July right now coming into this game, just barely over 200. That base hit he had his last time up, just his 2nd in this series against the Blue Jays. They pitched him tough.
The 2-0 pitch, and fouled off. And it's now 2 balls and a strike. Lowry hit .314 in April, .302 in May, .268 in June, and as you mentioned, July hasn't been pretty. .205 entering today. The 2-1. And the count now 2-2.
Lots of swings and misses. He struck out his first time up this afternoon against Jay. Had a couple of strikeouts in yesterday's ball game. He also had another 2 in the first game. So 5 strikeouts in this series.
In the air to right. Lake is there. And there's one away here in the bottom of inning number 6. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Toronto trying to leave town with a win. They lead here 3-0. They haven't been swept since the middle of May. And Semien, did he go around? No, says Marty Foster. Semien struck out last time up. Now it's back in the 4th. He's 0 for 2. Outfield straight away. And Happ deals this one. Is corked to deep center field. Going back is Pilar, gone. Semien with his 20th home run. A career best for the shortstop.
That's what I mean about this kid. He's going to be some kind of player. They've got his defense ironed out. He's out here every day working with Ron Washington to clean that up. He's done that, and you can see why he was a high draft pick of the Chicago White Sox and why the Oakland A's wanted him in that trade. Looked like a cutter from Jay Happ out over the middle of the plate. Now that is 11 extra base hits in his last 18 games. He's going to be a good player.
7 home runs by Oakland here in this series. Trevor Story, the only shortstop in the bigs that has more home runs. Reddick looks at the strike. Now to 1-1.
Originally with the Chicago White Sox. He was acquired.
Happ able to handle that. Right back at him. I think Jay's thinking there's been too many of those. He's going to
take the bullseye off my back.
There's Radar. Look at Martin going out there and looking at him.
Let's see if he got some leather on this one. Breaking ball away. Yeah, that's all leather. He's able to knock it down, recover, and get the out. That's going to bring Pete Walker out to the mound just to make sure everything's okay. Jesse Chavez has gotten up and started throwing down in the bullpen. This might be just one of those, hey, well, let's give him a little bit of a blow right here to catch his breath after the home run and the line drive right back at him. And he's just barely over 70 pitches today. There's Jesse.
He was hit by a line drive off of the bat of Jake Smolinski back in the 5th inning with a 1 away, and was able to work his way through that bottom of the 5th inning.
This is a tough part of the order for the Oakland A's. Danny Valencia is a very good batter against left-handed pitching. Davis, we've seen enough of him this series. And then Butler is a 300 hitter against left-handed pitching. So John Gibbons has Chavez up just in case Jay runs into a little problems here. Valencia's hit 5 of his 12 home runs this year against left-handed pitching.
Valencia goes the other way, base hit. 2 for 3.
He came into this game with a 141 career batting average against the Blue Jays, the worst against any team in his career. But he's looked very comfortable. Singled his last time up and then goes with that pitch down and away into right field.
Valencia has been with Minnesota, Boston, Baltimore, Kansas City, Toronto, and now Oakland. Here is Chris Davis. Davis has grounded out to Happ his 2 previous at-bats, and the pitch is down and in. Davis a season ago hit a career high 27 homers. This is the 3rd consecutive season that he has hit 20 or more. And the pitch is down and in.
He is loading up, looking for something out over the plate. You can see him just loading up on his back leg and then trying to lift the ball right now. 2-0. He's going to look for a fastball out over the plate and see how far he can hit it. Not a real big guy, but he's got a nice, powerful stroke. See that front side leaving early?
5'10", 195 pounds.
Yeah, just watch his front foot. His front foot is leaking towards third base. He's opening up. He's looking for something on the inner half that he can get up in the air.
They set him up inside. Doesn't go after that pitch in the count. Now 3-1 to Chris Davis. 3-1 lead for the Blue Jays. Solo home run off of the bat of Marcus Semien, his 20th. Valencia, small lead over at first, held on by Smoke, and Happ deals. It's low, and it's ball 4. Runners at first and second. The first walk of the afternoon for the left-hander. And here comes John Gibbons. And Jay Happ was cruising along. Retired the first 9 that he faced. Got out of a jam in the 4th. And then a line drive off of the left forearm. And that was back in the 5th inning. Gave up a solo blast here. A base hit and a walk. And so Happ is done here on this Sunday. Blue Jays lead 3-1.
Official team shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. New 2016 authentic jerseys with 40th season sleeve patch now available. Get yours today at jshop.ca. And just below that patch on Happ sleeve is a very large welt in the shape of a baseball bat.
You see the compression sleeve being put back on Jay Happ. And a new pitcher on the hill for the Blue Jays.
Jesse Chavez will come in and try and get out of this inning. 35th appearance for Chavez this year. Very good ERA at 3.28. He has had the most opportunities, inherited runners this year. This appearance right here, there's 26 runners that he has inherited now this year. He's been throwing much better. He will face the pinch hitter yonder, Alonso, who is pinch hitting for Billy Butler.
Butler was 0 for 2. Alonso takes over in that spot. Left-handed hitter. Pitch outside and high. And the count 2-0. Happ able to work 5 2/3. Two outs, 2 on, and the 2-0. Alonso takes a fastball strike.
That's unfortunate for Jay. Yep. He was pitching really well until he got that line drive off of his forearm.
Off the bat of Jake Smolinski. Here's a 2-1. Driven into the gap in left center field. Rounding second is Valencia. He'll score. A play at the plate. And it's cut off by Donaldson. And a big hit by Alonso as Valencia scores easily, and then Davis able to score.
You know, that has been another theme that we have seen in this 3-game series is the Oakland A's coming up with 2-out base hits. Here's another one. Pinch hitting Alonso. He was 0 for 4 in his career versus Jesse Chavez until this at-bat slices the ball into left field. And by the time Pilar can run it down, the A's are going to tie this ball game up with their 6th hit of the afternoon.
Happ 5 2/3, 5 hits, 3 runs all earned, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and 84 pitches. He was pitching well until he got hit by a line drive off the bat of Smolinski, and here is Smolinski with a runner at second and 2 outs. And you made the great point how they have been able to do damage with 2 outs in this series, and that has been the difference. It certainly was on Friday and then again yesterday. Alonso takes a lead back at second to go ahead run here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Started a lot of these rallies with 2 outs and nobody on.
That pitch hits the batter, Smolinski. So runners at first and second here with 2 outs. And the bullpen begins to get going for the Blue Jays. Cecil is up at the bullpen.
John Gibbons has come out. He wants to take a look at this one more time to see if there was a swing or if the ball actually hit him. And they can do that. One more time. Smolinski clearly hit on the right wrist. And now Pete Walker out to the mound. Brett Cecil has gotten up to get loose.
Healy is the batter with 2 outs and 2 on. The inning started with an out off of the bat of Laurie, and then Semien hit his 20th home run of the season. Happ was able to get a Reddick, and Valencia ripped a single and then a walk to Davis. That brought in Chavez. And Alonso, who was pinch hitting for Billy Butler, comes through with a double into the gap in left center field.
All of that, and Jay pitching really well will pick up a no decision in this game.
Big swing by Healy. Had won his 6 previous starts. What a run for Happ.
Looked like he was going to be number 7. He was cruising until he got hit on that forearm with that line drive. Now it's up to the bullpens.
Healy fouls this one off. Chavez ahead in the count. The 0-2 ground ball in the hole. Tulowitzki to throw to first. And Smoke does a good job coming off the bag and keeping it in front of him. And the bases are now full here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, if you're the first baseman, you've got to make that decision right there. Should I stay on the bag and try and get the out? Or do I come off the bag and block this ball so it doesn't go down the line? And I think Justin Smoke made the right decision. He came off the bag and he used his body just to keep that ball on the infield. It'll go as an infield hit for Healy. And now the bases are loaded and 2 outs. And all of this again started with 2 outs and nobody on.
McBride is the batter, the number 9 hitter. Fouls this one off on the first pitch. He has 1 grand slam in his career. Left-hander Zubczynski getting set in the bullpen for Oakland. Bases are full of A's. Chavez trying to get out of the inning, and the pitch is low. Tied at 3. Jays were in control. And then the A's have come up with some big 2-out hits here, and McBride swings through it. And now Chavez ahead in the count. Alonso at third, Smolinski at second, Healy at first for Oakland. McBride is the hitter. And the 1-2 popped up in the infield, racing in. Smoke calling for it, and nearly a collision as Donaldson cut right in front and at the last moment got out of the way. But Smoke able to get the final out here, the 6th. The bases left full.
New way to live stream sports without cable TV. Visit sportsnet.ca/now to start your free trial today, and it looks as though Dennis Eckersley is going to win this race, guys.
I'm not buying it. How does Ricky lose? Ricky cannot lose those races. Ricky would never lose.
Never.
To Eck.
Never. Today, though,
Yes.
different story. Mark Zebczynski comes in. He will become the 4th pitcher of the afternoon for the Oakland A's. Zebczynski 43 games now, but he has tossed less than 1 inning in 29 of them. Second time that the Blue Jays have seen him in this series.
Pilar is aboard. A base hit for Kevin Pilar.
Maybe Pilar knows a little something against the former Blue Jays. Zebczynski coming off that mound and did not field that ball cleanly. He falls off towards third base. So Pilar pushes it up the first base line. And he will be on first base with an infield hit.
And great decision by Kevin Pilar. So the leadoff batter is aboard. Zebczynski worked on Friday night. A third of an inning. Smoke is 0 for 2. And the pitch is down low and away. 3 runs scored in the 6th for Oakland to tie it. But they strand 3 runners. See if the Blue Jays can tack one on here and take the lead. Rich Hill started today but lasted 5 pitches because of a blister, and then Andrew Triggs left after working an inning. He was the recipient of a line drive off of the left calf. Smoke through the left side, and the first 2 are aboard here in the top of the 7th for Toronto. Manaea worked 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 69 pitches. He struck out 4.
First 2 aboard here in the 7th inning. We might see a bunt now. Long look by Junior Lake at Louis Rivera as Liam Hendricks has gotten up and he's starting to get loose. Oakland A's going through their defensive signs right now, trying to decide, and now McBride's going to go out and talk to Zebczynski. This screams for a base hit or a bunt right here. You got the right runner at second base, a little bit more speed in Pilar. What you want to do if they are indeed bunting right here is make that third baseman field the ball. That is young Ryan Healy, just called up. This is only his 3rd big league game right here.
Lake squares to bunt and unable to get it down.
That looked like he tried to bunt for a base hit.
Runners at first and second. Lake doesn't show the bunt that time. Takes a pitch low. A ball and a strike here. Top of the 7th. Zebczynski, the lefty. Pilar at second, tied at 3. Smoke at first base with a lead. In on the corners. And now down to the count of 1-2. Travis has got to try to get him over to third here. Pardon me, Lake. Travis is up next.
The infielders now have moved back on the corners. Danny Valencia, the first baseman, now going to play behind the runner. This is where that play where you can't take the guy out at second base becomes really big, doesn't it?
Zebczynski.
You know, if he hits a ground ball, if the runner, you got the first baseman playing behind you. You can get a big lead and try and break up the double play, and then at least there's first and third and just one out. But you can't do that anymore.
Lake the hitter. Travis on deck, and now Lake calls a timeout. Lake in his 14th game is 5 for 21. Pilar with a lead at second, and a swing and a miss. Lake unable to help the cause here for the Blue Jays. There's one away, and here comes Devin Travis.
First game of this series, the Blue Jays had some good fundamental baseball. They had 7 hits, 7 singles, but they were able to move runners along. Junior Lake could not do it that time. Now it's going to take some base hits from Devin Travis, and then Josh Donaldson behind him.
Travis 0 for 3. He has hit safely in 21 of his last 24 games, hitting .344. With 11 extra base hits, 5 home runs, 17 RBIs during that stretch. And the pitch from Zepchinski misses. Pilar a leadoff bunt single, Smoke a single. Lake showed bunt the first time, but unable to connect. It was a strike, and later striking out for the first out here in the top of the 7th inning. The 1-0 and foul back. Hendricks continues to warm up in the bullpen for Oakland. Donaldson is on deck.
Got the third baseman in. Devin Travis is not really known as a guy who'll drop a bunt down.
Healy backing up now, and the pitch is hit foul.
Zepchinski's got a good breaking ball that he'll throw with 2 strikes, sweep it, down it into right-handers, but he also turns the ball over. He's pitched a long time in the big leagues. He's a lefty specialist, if you will. So he's been in these situations where you come in with runners on base. He got Junior Lake to strike out on a changeup down and away.
The 1-2 swing and a miss, down and in. And more than likely that's going to be it for Zepchinski. Yep, here comes Bob Melvin.
Slider. You got Lake with a changeup. This is a slider down and in. Devin can't come up with anything here. So 2 down, 2 on. The reigning AL MVP coming up, and Liam Hendricks, the right-hander, will come in and see what he can do with his ex-teammate.
To enter, go online and enter MBJ2171. You do that, you'll earn My Blue Jays points simply for watching the broadcast. That entry box is on the homepage of your My Blue Jays page, and you have till 11:50 night to answer. Let's get you back to Matt and Pat.
2 outs, 2 on. Josh Donaldson is the batter. Hendricks the pitcher. Donaldson 1 for 3, and the right-hander to the plate. Hendricks, and he misses down low and in to Josh Donaldson.
He knows all about Donaldson, playing with him last year. Josh is going to look for a fastball out over the plate. Liam Hendricks has given up a batting average of .345 this year.
The 1-0 pitch, and it's a hitter's count for Josh Donaldson. A line drive back at the top of the first inning off of Triggs, the left calf of Triggs. Donaldson came around to score on an error by the left fielder Davis. Edwin awaits if Donaldson can get aboard. Runners at first and second, and a big swing by the former Athletic.
There was the fastball that he was looking for right there. 2-0. Liam Hendricks, he'll challenge you with a fastball. We saw that last year when he was with the Blue Jays. Had a great year for the Jays. And actually traded him to Oakland for Jesse Chavez, who we saw earlier today.
Pilar with a lead at second, and now stepping off is the pitcher Hendricks, and now reading the signs once again. Pilar back at second and Smoke over at first. Zipchinski struck out Lake and then Travis. And a count of 3-1 to Donaldson. The 3-1 pitch. 3-2. He's been down in the count both times. He has come back with a fastball. 2-0 and then 3-1, challenging him. Runners will be moving. Pilar at second. Smoke at first, and the 3-2 pitch got underneath it. There's room in foul territory. Coming over, and a collision. Semien and Healy. Healy able to handle it. And that'll do it for the Blue Jays. A leadoff bunt single by Pilar. A single by Smoke into left field. Lake strikes out. Travis strikes out. And Donaldson pops out in foul territory. You see Healy calling for it, but Semien didn't hear him.
Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. The checkered flag event is back, celebrating over 50 years of racing heritage in every Honda.
The East Bay on a Sunday. Time now for the schedule ahead, brought to you by WestJet. An off day tomorrow in Arizona. The Diamondbacks on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then back home for Seattle, San Diego, and then Baltimore. And the Blue Jays missing out on an opportunity in the top of the 7th inning. Chavez is out, and here is Brett Cecil.
Brett's already pitched one time in this series. That was on Friday night, 2/3 of an inning, and he actually was pinned with that 6th loss.
Ground ball, base hit. Lowry is aboard here. 2-hit day for the second baseman. Go ahead, run aboard.
Blue Jays playing Jed Lowry to pull. You can see Devin Travis at the top of your screen right there. This is if they're straight up right at him. Jed Lowry crosses up the defense and shoots the ball to right field for his 2nd hit of the afternoon. We go through a lot of extensive information, figure out where they want to play their defense. And that time Lowry crossed him up with a base hit.
Semien is the hitter here. A collision with Healy in foul territory for the final out in the top of the 7th inning, and Healy was able to hold on to it, and Semien is fine. He got things going in the 6th with his 20th home run, career high. Breaking ball here in the dirt. Blue Jays in this series are 5 for 24 with runners in scoring position.
Tough to win games like that. That ball right out in front of home plate. Heck of a job by Russell Martin as he gives up his body to block that one.
Double play depth through the middle. Semien waits, and the pitch is high. Blue Jays unable to cash in at the top of the 7th.
You know, you mentioned those numbers right there. Blue Jays lack of hitting with runners in scoring position. The Oakland A's hitting with runners in scoring position.
And really, with 2 outs.
With 2 outs. Has really been frustrating for the Blue Jays in this series.
They were 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position on Friday night. 1 of 6 yesterday. And 1 for 7 today. And a breaking ball strike.
That is Josh Reddick waiting on deck. And we've been talking about his numbers against the Blue Jays in his career.
And swing and a miss. 1 away. Although he has struggled against left-handers. And he'll face one here.
Right fielder.
Schultz is warming up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays.
There's that curveball grip that Brett Cecil will use. It's a spike curve where he lays his fingernail of his index finger on that ball and then really pulls down with his middle finger. Pulls that ball down. He's got a great breaking ball. Josh Reddick in his career versus Brett Cecil's 2 for 7.
Hitless today. And the first pitch is outside. Struck out looking in the bottom of the 1st, struck out swinging in the 4th after Happ was down in the count 3-0. And then a comebacker in the 6th. Pitch up and in. Blue Jays led 3-0 until a 3-run 6th. They have led in each game out here in Oakland. And this one fouled right back towards us. And in the press box to our left.
He had it. What happened?
And now saying he was this close.
Yeah, it was right in his hands.
Now he's telling everyone how close he was. I was. Now he's saying that it wasn't his fault. Out at second on to first. Exactly what they needed. A 4-6-3 double play here to end the bottom of the 7th inning. Through 7, tied at 3. Travis to Tulowitzki to Smoke. We go to the 8th.
VIP Blue Jays experiences like alumni meet and greet, seat upgrades, offers, and more. With Game Plus, it's all part of the MLB.com ballpark app. Learn more at BlueJays.com/Game Plus. Who knows, you may just meet Pat Tabler.
Tabby up here in the booth for the 8th inning. Edwin Encarnacion to Russell Martin. And Michael Saunders, if anyone gets on, Troy Tulowitzki. See if Edwin can do some damage here. Since the start of the 2012 season, he has 175 home runs. Only Chris Davis has more. He's driven in 504 runs. Only Miguel Cabrera has more. This one is to the shortstop Semien, and there's one away here in the top of inning number 8. And that's going to bring up Russell Martin. Martin 2 for 2. And a run scored. And the cleanup spot.
He's had some good at-bats today. Doubled to right center field and then singled to center field his last time up. He's always better when he's thinking middle of the field like that. Short stroke right now. He's looking for something out over the plate. Extra bases, he's thinking.
Used to catch Hendricks, and now he's facing him. And the first pitch is a strike. Oh, 0-2 the count now on Martin.
Jason Grilli has picked up the ball and he's starting to get loose. We saw Bo Schultz. Looked like they were going to use Bo to finish off that inning if they had to. Now Grilli, who has cemented that 8th inning role for the Blue Jays, is up and getting ready. He's going to be coming in.
Ground ball chopped to the shortstop, and there are 2 outs here in the top of inning number 8.
You know what used to be a liability for Oakland at shortstop, 35 errors, a franchise record. Marcus Semien last year, he's only got 10 this year. He's played the most innings. He's had the most starts. He's had the most total chances. might be the most improved player in the American League.
Talked about it on Friday. So much work with Ron Washington, who does an outstanding job.
And we have seen him, the improvement by leaps and bounds. And when you talk to Wash, you say, well, he's doing okay. He's got a long way to go. Like,
high standards. High standards.
Well, Wash has coached a lot of Gold Glove winners. In fact, he coached Eric Chavez here. Chavez gave him one of his Gold Gloves in appreciation of all the hard work that he put in with his infield instructor.
Saunders. Count 1-1. Saunders is 1 for his last 16. See if he can break out of it here in the top of the 8th as we are tied at 3. And he fouls this one back. And Hendricks ahead in the count. Blue Jays led 3-0. And now knotted at 3. Really continues to warm up in the bullpen. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning. And a fastball is high in the count, 2-2. In the 7th, it looked like the Jays were in business with Pilar leadoff bunt and then Smoke a single, but Lake struck out, Travis struck out, and Donaldson facing Hendricks popped out in foul ground. The 2-2 on its way, driven down the right field line. It's turning foul.
Boy, that's how you drop the head of the bat on an inside slider like that. It's just a little bit too early. Or he keeps that ball fair down the right field line. We have seen that all season long from Michael Saunders. That little slider from the righty, down and in. Goes down and gets it.
See if he can straighten one out here. Stays alive as he fights off that pitch.
He wasn't going to get another slider down and in. Hendricks with 2 strikes likes to elevate that fastball. Make you reach for it. And he did just that to Saunders as they fouled that one off. Liam's thrown a lot harder since they moved him into the bullpen. He's only got short stints, an inning, and a third where he can just uncork it as hard as he can.
Time called by Saunders. Didn't chase it. They try to go upstairs and Saunders lays off of it, and the count now runs full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning. Tulowitzki is on deck. Saunders works a walk here. Drive of the game brought to you by the all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Since Troy Tulowitzki came off the disabled list, he has been on fire. He came off on June the 18th, just about a month ago. And this is going to be his 8th home run since coming off the DL. A deep drive to center field. It was off of a fastball. He's hit just under 300 against the fastball since coming off the DL. With that home run, that is this afternoon's drive of the game. He is up to 16 home runs now.
In the air to right center field, Smolinski just shy of the warning track. And that's going to do it in the top of the 8th inning. Time now for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Hazel May and Greg Zahn from the Samsung Broadcast Studio.
You'll be hosting 14 Honda Super Camps across Canada. Learn techniques from former Blue Jays such as Roberto Alomar, Devon White, Lloyd Mosby, Jesse Barfield, and Dwayne Ward. Each and every one of them fantastic coaches, and you can register now on BlueJays.com/camps. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning. We'll send you back now to Matt and Pat.
All right, Barry, so here it is, bottom of the 8th. And the 4th pitcher for John Gibbons here today.
Jason Gurley will come in. He has taken over the 8th inning duties for the Blue Jays bullpen. The setup man has been wonderful since they acquired him from Atlanta. He's 3-3 with a .411 earned run average. He's pitched 30 2/3 innings. His fastball slider combination has been very good. You know, when you talk to him, he says, you know, I'm surviving out there. I'm trying to use all of my smarts that I have. But I'll tell you what, he has been outstanding since the Blue Jays picked him up.
Valencia, then Davis, and Alonso. They did damage back in the 6th inning. Valencia with a 2-out single, then a walk to Davis, and Alonso with a double. That drove into both Valencia and Davis. Grilly, and the breaking ball misses. Donaldson close to the line at 3rd and deep. Late innings, as you would expect.
No doubles defense. Outfield very deep.
Pilar toward the gap into right center field. And the count 2-1.
Jason's done his homework against Danny Valencia, hasn't he?
Yep.
All breaking balls right there. He is a very good fastball. He's sitting on that fastball all the time, so he's a good fastball hitter, so he's throwing 3 breaking balls.
And there's the 4th breaking ball. 2-2 the count. Valencia back in the batter's box. And a swing and a miss. That one was down and away out of the zone. And Valencia wasn't patient enough, and Grilly was able to get him.
He knows he likes the fastball.
Yep.
So he threw him all breaking balls. Look where this one ends up. In the other batter's box. And how about the job Russell Martin does backhanding that ball to record the out? Valencia looking for the fastball, and they got all breaking balls.
The A's have not swept a 3-game series from the Blue Jays in Oakland since 2000. They swept a 4-game series in Oakland back in 2014. Here's Davis, and he goes after that first pitch. He walked and scored in the 6th.
With that strikeout now, Jason Grilly has struck out at least one batter now in 14 straight appearances.
Davis, did it go around? They're going to check. Yes, he did.
You know, he did that with smarts. I mean, he did his homework. This is the guy they got to shut down right here. Look at those numbers against the Blue Jays. Chris Davis has had 21 at-bats, 8 hits, 4 of them have left the ballpark.
He entered this series in a 2-for-24 slump. The 0-2, and he doesn't chase it. His last 6 at-bats entering the 3rd game of this series, 3 of them he has hit home runs.
See what he's trying to do. Again, his front side is leaking early. That is John Axford, who is up and starting to get loose. But Davis is looking for something on the inner half where he can pull and yank over the fence in left field. So far, Jason Grilly hasn't given him a chance to do it.
Davis waits. Really comes set in the pitch. Gets him. And let's check in with Hazel.
Number 17, Yonder.
17th inning. We are in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Alonso came through with a big pinch hit double back in the 6th inning. For the Blue Jays in the top of the 9th, Pilar, Smoke, and Lake, the scheduled batters. And Grilly drops in the breaking ball for a strike.
You and I had a chance to talk with him the other day and talk about how well he's been doing. He says, you know what, I'm just trying to use everything that I have learned at the major league level to survive. You can see it on display this afternoon.
And what a great pickup by the Blue Jays.
It's been good down in that bullpen too for a lot of those young arms. About being alert to being ready, understanding your role, getting your work done in between appearances.
The 1-2. High in the air, shallow left field, coming in Saunders. And it's a 1-2-3, bottom of the 8th. And to the 9th we go. Pilar, Smoke, Lake, if anybody gets on, Travis, the scheduled hitters.
Action on the network, and it's an all-East showdown at Yankee Stadium. Manny Machado and the Orioles taking on Carlos Beltran on the Yankees. That's tomorrow on Sportsnet, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Beltran, believe it or not, involved in a lot of trade talk as the Yankees continue to fall out in the East.
They face Boston tonight. Boston has won 6 in a row. Baltimore lost to Tampa Bay earlier today. And the 6th pitcher employed by Bob Melvin here on this Sunday for Oakland.
3rd game of this series, 3rd time that we have seen John Axford. His fastball's been really good. About 96, 97, a nice curveball. He's added a little two-seamer. That'll definitely help those numbers for Axe as he gets that ERA under 5. It's been good. Picked up a couple of holds in this series.
Pilar started the 7th with a bunt single and was stranded at second base. Healy close to the bag at 3rd, even with the bag. Valencia the same at 1st. And the right-hander brings in a strike.
I don't think Pilar is going to bunt again. He's already done that. He did that against Tulowitzki. But you'll take the infield in like that and see if you can get one by him. Started the 7th inning with that hit.
Broken bat. Ground ball. Semien scoops it up, and they cut him down at first base. Nice play by the shortstop. Let's go back to the first inning. Just 5 pitches for Rich Hill. And a blister in his middle finger and just unable to continue. And then that brought in Andrew Triggs. And Triggs, a line drive off of the bat of Donaldson. And it hit his left calf. And he was unable to return in the second, although he continued to work in the top of the first.
He finished off the first inning, which was very helpful for this team. And then Manaea, what a job he did. 5 innings, gave up a couple of runs, just a home run to Tulowitzki. Then Zebczynski, Hendricks, and now Axford as they try to put it together. Blue Jays have not scored since that home run by Tulowitzki back in the 4th inning. They've had their chances. They've had some base runners, but they haven't been able to bring them around.
5 for 24, runners in scoring position. Smoke turns around to the left side. He was 1 for 3 from the right side. A single back in the 7th. He was stranded there. Went deep yesterday in the top of the 9th. This one's on the ground, and he's got a chance. That's a base hit for Smoke. You'll take it every time.
Yes, you will. That's I mean, you can't defense against that, right? You're in the shift, being defensive. You're in the shift trying to avoid the ball going to right field. He crosses up the defense, hits this one off the end of the bat again. You can't defense everything. It stays fair and just stays inside third base for an infield hit.
Andy Burns comes in to run for Smoke. Lake had 2 on and nobody out. Back in the 7th and unable to come through. Let's see if he can do something here. 0 for 3 on the day. Burns with the lead over at first. Axford looks over that left shoulder and has a good lead over there, does Burns, and Axford chases him back.
I think you have to take a shot right here and getting yourself into scoring position. You pinch run. Burns has got enough speed that he can steal a base. The catcher McBride is 0 for 5 this year in throwing out base runners. Axford's 0 for 1. He's got a high leg kick. Perfect time to go.
Lake comes through with a base hit back through the middle, and Burns stays right there at second. And so runners at first and second for Devin Travis. So Lake with a base hit back through the middle.
Fights off that fastball right on the inner half. You can see he just pushes the ball into center field. Burns had some ideas of going first to third. Outfield was playing very deep. I told you they don't have very good throwing arms except in right field. But then thought better of it and held at second base.
Blue Jays today 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They have an opportunity here with 1 away in the top of the 9th inning. Tied at 3. Burns with a lead at second. Lake at first. Outfield straight away and deep.
You know, I told you that he was jammed on that ball and fought it off. But watch, he hits it on the inside part of the bat. and then hits it off the outside, more off the end of the bat.
You don't see that often.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. He fights it off and pushes it into center field.
Strike one to Travis.
You know what? All the years that I have played this game and watched this game, I don't think I've ever seen a batter double hit a ball like that. Get jammed and then finish the swing and hit it off the end of the bat and then get a base hit.
He'll take it.
Heck yeah, he will.
Burns has a lead at second. Walking lead over at first for Lake. Jays fans trying to cheer on their team, and Travis fouls this one off to the right side. And Axford now ahead of the count, 1-2.
This is where, if you're Devin Travis, you got to close off the left side of the diamond. You got to wait as long as you can on that pitch, so you don't overcommit too early on a breaking ball. Try and hit the ball to right field or right back through the middle.
There's a hole on the right side.
Boy, is there ever for him to shoot for.
Axford to the plate. And Travis stays alive.
There's that two-seamer, something that Axford's been doing a lot of lately. Getting on top of it. Two-seamer acts out like a sinker. For a right-handed batter, it's going to come in on you. Travis was able to fight that one off.
Donaldson on deck. And now time called. There's one away. Pilar started the inning grounding out to short, and then Smoke an infield single. Burns took over as a pinch runner, and Lake double hit a ball back through the middle. He's over at first. Runners at first and second for Devin Travis. 0 for 4 on the day. Fastball got him. May have been looking for something else.
Might have been looking for something inside after that two-seam fastball, and Axford paints fastball away. This is playing right into Devin's strength, down and away. One more look at it. Devin thinks it's off the plate, but Paul Emmel punches him out.
Donaldson the batter. He's 1 for 4. Potential go-ahead run is at second base in Burns. Outfield deep, straight away. Axford to the plate. Strike one.
Remember, it was Donaldson at the plate the other day facing Axford. Struck out on that two-seam fastball. See if he can make the adjustments today if he gets another one.
Donaldson remains in the batter's box. Axford back on the hill. Two away, top of the ninth, 2 on. And off the outside corner. And it's 1-1 now to Donaldson. 64 RBIs on the season. Has 1 here in this series. He'd love to get another one here in the top of the ninth. Burns with a lead at second. The 1-1 outside of the count, 2-1. For Oakland in the bottom of the ninth inning, Smolinski, Healy, and McBride. Bottom third of the lineup for Bob Melvin. The 2-1. Line drive. Base hit. Into the corner. Burns rounds third. He scores. Here comes Lake. And a double for Josh Donaldson. And the Blue Jays take a 5-3 lead.
He gets the two-seamer. And you can see how excited the Blue Jays are. Tim Leeper gives him a chest bump after that two-seamer. He struck out on Friday night in the 6th inning against Axford and wasn't really sure about that two-seamer. Gets it one more time, and watch how he just barrels up this ball down the left field line. Great job by Luis Rivera, the third base coach, knowing that Chris Davis can't throw. He overthrew the cutoff man, and he sent Junior Lake all the way from first base with a huge insurance run.
Big time double for Josh Donaldson. RBIs 65 and 66 as Edwin looks at the pitch.
Blue Jays looking for a big base hit, and they get it from Donaldson. Osuna was up to start this inning, so he's loose now as the Blue Jays get the lead. But a heads-up call by Rivera. I mean, you got to know that before that play happens.
Double number 21, pardon me, for Donaldson.
That you're going to score that runner from first base. He was watching the left fielder, and when he threw the ball, he overthrew the cutoff man with nothing on it, and that allowed Lake to really score without a throw. What a heads-up play.
Big hit for Donaldson against his former team.
And here's a ball out on the field
from the bullpen.
So a little timeout. And the ball boy runs it down.
And Edwin will make his way back into the batter's box. A 2-out double by Donaldson scores Burns and Lake, and now they're going to put Edwin aboard. They do not want to mess with Edwin.
Yeah, well, when you're behind in the count like that, don't want to come into him. They're going to walk in Encarnacion and face Martin. Martin is 1 for 4 in his career against John Axford.
2 for 3 here today. Had a double and a run scored in the 4th and a single in the 6th. So Russell Martin is the batter. Blue Jays looking to avoid a sweep. They lead 5-3. Osuna down to the bullpen for Toronto. And Josh Donaldson 2 for 5 today. And a big double here in the top of the 9th inning. Axford comes set. And the first pitch misses. There's a strike. Blue Jays had struggled with runners in scoring position today, and then Donaldson comes through.
Third day in a row that the Blue Jays have seen John Axford.
Yeah. They got the book on him now.
They got it now, baby. That's a rarity nowadays, seeing a reliever 3 days in a row.
Martin fouls it right back in the count of 1-2. Donaldson with that double. He's at second. Encarnacion intentionally walked. He's at first. Russell on the day is 2 for 3. Going to pick up another base hit here in the top of the 9th. Axford taking his time. Has the sign that he wants. And a fastball rides high and outside.
He's still throwing hard. I mean, that one was 97 miles an hour. He just doesn't have the command that we've saw the last couple of days. He worked a 1-2-3 8th inning yesterday with a strikeout. That was in the 8th. He had a pitched in the 6th inning, a walk and a couple of strikeouts on Friday night. A little bit longer inning this afternoon, 25 pitches.
Yep. Calls out McBride. They're going to go through what they'd like to do against Martin here with 2 away and 2 on and a 2-2 count. Martin all set to go. Axford deals. And after all that discussion, a breaking ball down low and away, and the count is full. Runners will be off on the pitch.
Nothing wrong with getting some more add-on runs for the Blue Jays.
Left-hander down to the bullpen for Oakland in case Saunders.
One way or another, this is his last batter. Patrick Schuster. Donaldson can break. If you're the runners, make sure he goes home. Donaldson and Encarnacion can break off the bases.
Ball 4. Bases are loaded for Saunders. And Bob Melvin is going to use his 7th pitcher of the game. Schuster comes in. Axford is done. Josh Donaldson with a huge double that scores 2. Patrick Schuster. So Schuster comes in.
He's been with 6 organizations in 8 professional seasons. He was signed by the A's in November. The left-hander, he comes at you from all different angles. He slings the ball across his body. His best pitch is his slider, and hasn't given up a hit to a left-hander yet this season.
8th batter of the top of the 9th. It's Saunders. And the first pitch is down low and away. Saunders has 1 grand slam in his career. The bases are loaded here in the top of the 9th inning. Donaldson with that double. He's now at 3rd. Encarnacion, an intentional walk. He's at 2nd, and Martin walked. And the pitch is down low and away, and the count now 2-0.
Good at bat. Michael looking for his first hit in this series. He's going to have to do it against a very tough left-hander. Last time up, he walked.
0 for 3 in this game. Blue Jays lead by 2, and here's a 2-0 pitch. And it's now 3-0
2-0 slider. My scouting report has him any pitch at any time. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 2-0, throws him a slider.
Let's see what he comes with here. A 3-0 right down Main Street. So the count now 3-1. See if he comes back with the fastball or decides to go with another breaking pitch. Bases are loaded.
He needs a strike, whatever he throws. Right here, if you're Michael Saunders, you're looking for one pitch in one spot. Threw him a slider.
3-2. Saunders, he awaits a 3-2, 2 outs, and now time is called by Michael. Bases are loaded for the Blue Jays. Donaldson with a big 2-out double. He's now at third. Saunders awaits a 3-2. Swing and a miss. Got him. Chased the breaking ball down low and away. But not before Josh Donaldson comes through with his 21st double of the season, scoring 2 for the Blue Jays. They lead 5-3. Osuna comes in to save it. Two-out double in the top of the 9th inning, and now it's time for Roberto Osuna here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Smolinski, Healy, and McBride. Burns stays in. He was a pinch runner for Smoke after he singled with 1 out in the top of the 9th inning, and Burns is now at first.
Save opportunity for Roberto Osuna. He's 18 for 20 this year in save opportunity. There's Andy over at first base. He came in a pinch run for Justin Smoke. 2 days in a row now for Osuna. He pitched a clean inning yesterday, threw an inning, had a walk and a strikeout in that inning. Now a chance to pick up save number 19.
Blue Jays trying to avoid a sweep for the first time since the middle of May, when they were 4 games under 500, and since that time, of course, they've been outstanding, and they lead here 5-3.
That sweep was a wake-up call, I think, for the Blue Jays against Tampa Bay. They couldn't do anything right. Tampa Bay couldn't do anything wrong. Since then, the Jays have been outstanding.
They have led, not only in this game, they led 3-0. And the lead 5-3, but they led yesterday, did John Gibbons' club, as well as on Friday night they led 7-3. Lost both of those games, Friday and Saturday. Osuna Ahead in the count now to Smolinski. Smolinski hit that line drive back in the 5th inning off of the forearm of Jay Happ. And Jay was really on his game prior to that. Unfortunate for him that ultimately he had to leave the game. That was in the 6th inning.
Yeah, he left with the lead. But we'll pick up a no decision here. Now it's up to Osuna to close it out.
Happ was rolling early, retired the first 9. High in the air, off the bag at third. Donaldson settles underneath it. There's one away. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Sportsnet Central, here's Eric Thomas. Ryan Healy, the batter, with a one away here in the 9th inning. Healy 1 for 3. Just called up his first series in the big leagues. Good friends with Kevin Pillar, both from West Hills, California, although they went to rival high schools. Healy was a freshman in high school when Pillar was a senior, but they know each other well. And a fastball is in there for a strike. Stephen DeVoe in the dugout. Potentially he's going to hit here in this 9th, depending upon what happens here. Healy down to the count 1-2.
Boy, Osuna, for such a young player, has that ability to read bats, control that fastball, understand the game. Look at that. 3 fastballs on the outside part of the plate. He reaches back for a little something extra and punches out Healy.
He has struck out now 15 right-handed hitters over the last 36 batters faced.
Made a little bit of a tweak in his delivery. Felt like he was turning just a little bit too much, and that was throwing off the timing, releasing that pitch. Got that fastball burning on the outside corner.
McBride is the hitter. He's 0 for 3. Strike 1 to McBride. Blue Jays lead 5-3. Donaldson came through in the top of the 9th inning with a 2-out double to score Burns in late. And a pitch down low and away.
It's got to feel pretty good for Josh Donaldson, doesn't it? Against your former teammate. Come in here, he's played great defense, and he came up with a clutch hit for the Jays.
McBride can't catch up to the fastball there. And a count now 1-2. Blue Jays 1 strike away from avoiding the sweep and picking up their first win of the 2nd half and the first win on this 5-game road trip. In the air, high in the air, shallow left field going out. Tulowitzki coming in. Saunders, and Saunders at the last moment makes the grab as he dove to his glove side.
Don't want to get that.
Oh my.
That tying run to the plate. Saunders makes the play one more time. He's coming in. It's an easier play for Michael Saunders. As Tulowitzki goes out, you can see that he's going to call him off. It looked like he was calling him off, and at the last second, Michael looks up to see Tulowitzki getting ground, and he ends it with an exciting play. Blue Jays avoid the sweep, come up with a big win before the off day tomorrow. Absolutely. Josh Donaldson comes through with that 2-out double to score Burns and Lake, and the Toronto Blue Jays are now 52-42 on the season, 25-22 on the road. It's time now for Sportsnet Central. Here's Eric Thomas.